and go into character creation. So we can either go around the table, or we can do hot seat with who wants to start first on their roles and tell us everybody what they want.
First off, we also should probably explain what we're doing for character creation.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, the character creation part is not only for the benefit of the new players at the table, but also for listeners who may not know how to create a character either as effectively as they could in terms of optimization or at all. So that's the general purpose is a little bit more educational about Dungeons and Dragons itself.
Because I was using this time trying to speed things up.
Yeah, we don't want to speed things up.
Jeez, overachieving.
But perhaps if you wouldn't mind going first, then since you already have yours started, you could just tell us where you're at.
Okay, what I did, Jake had mentioned that we were going to take 4d6 and roll them, and then drop out the lowest number.
Yeah.
And add the other three together to create your number, and you do that 6 times.
To complete one set.
To complete one set, and then you do it a second time. And so while we were earlier, before we turned the mics on, I was rolling and I was recording everything down, writing it down. That way I'm, trying to speed things up.
Oh, I know, but I'm a bastard. Someone make you do it again.
You want to make me roll them again?
Absolutely.
Okay. I rolled a 6, a 4, and 2 2s. So drop one of the 2s, that's a 12.
Got it.
I got a 6, a 5, a 2, and a 1. I'm going to drop the 1. I got a 13. I got a 5, a 3, and 2 2s. That's 10. You got a 4, a 3, a 5, and a 2. I'll drop the 2.
12.
That's 12. You got a 5, a 4, a 4, and a 2. Drop the 2. That's 13. And one more. A 6, a 6, a 2, and a 2. So that's 14.
Okay, so what are your stats? What are the to give us just our general rundown of them now in order of what you rolled.
Okay, I got a 12, a 13, a 10, a 12, a 13, and a 14.
So nothing below a 10, which is above average, which is good.
Yeah.
The lowest number you can get by rolling this way is a 3. The highest number you can get by rolling this way is an 18.
Yeah.
So he's well within the realms of average.
Okay, for my second set of numbers, I got a 2, a 1, a 4, and a 5. So that's an 11. I got a 6, a 2, or 6 and 3 2s. So that's 10. Two, 3, 4, 5. So drop the 2. Again, that's 12. 12. A 5, and 2 3s. So 13. And no, I'm not using any cheat dice. There's that. There's an 11. 2 1s and 2 5s.
Is that all 6 or you got one more?
One more. 5, 6, 2, and 1s. Another 13.
Okay. So, of those 2 sets, which one do you want to take? Oh, sorry. Read out the second set.
Okay, the second set was 11, 10, 12, 13, 11, and 13. I'm going to go with the first set.
Okay. Why?
Because the character I want to build, a tiefling bard, I want to put my highest number in my charisma.
Okay.
Because a bard uses charisma as its main
Stat. Isn't it also the bard spell casting modifier?
Exactly.
Okay.
So that's what I'm gonna be going with.
Okay. So now I'm gonna ask you some questions about the bard. And I'm pretty sure the majority of people here know, but for those who are listening, in normal D&D in general, like established, what is the role of a bard for a party? Like, what is it supposed to do, and why would you want to play one?
Well, a bard can give you inspiration. He can inspire the group, give you some extra hit dice. He also gets the spell Song of Rest, where when everybody has been damaged and you take a short rest, he sings his Song of Rest, and everybody gets an extra D6 back on their hit points.
Okay.
A bard is also a jack of all trades. He's pretty good at combat. He's pretty good at long range, depending on which races you use. He can also do some pretty decent spying. He's also pretty good at mage crafting, casting spells.
Well, what's the singular thing that defines a bard?
He's an entertainer.
Okay. So he's like a people person. He's
a people person.
Like the face of the party sometimes. Or the guy who's just like, hey, we need to convince this guy to do something. Send the bard out.
Exactly. And so that's what I'm going to be creating. Though I'm going to make it a little bit challenging by using a tiefling.
Okay.
In the world of Dungeons and Dragons, Forgotten Realms, a tiefling is a demon-born character who is not well liked by people.
Okay.
They don't trust him because he's demon-born. He's a devil.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are going to them now, and so theoretically there's more demon-born walking around now, so they're getting a little bit more common. They're still not quite as trusted, but part of my thought is this guy wants to be an entertainer, entertain people, maybe get them a little bit more less fearful of him and his type.
Cool.
And so that's part of his background. He doesn't like the way everybody hates him.
Right.
So he's going to entertain you, by singing, by maybe juggling or acrobatics or whatever, depending on what it takes to become loved by you.
Okay.
So that's my thoughts.
All right. Okay, so does anybody want to go next, or should I just start picking people?
Go for it.
Okay. Aaron, what about you?
Sure.
Don't sound so enthused.
Don't blame me. Blame your husband. He's the one who told me to go for it.
It's true.
Oh, as soon as he said that, I was like, oh, yeah, it's going to be me. All right, so I get to roll for
46. Those are some good numbers.
Awesome. So there's a 5, a 4, a 3, and a 2. So I take off the 2.
It gives you 12, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And can I just use the same dice?
I don't care. I just gave them to you so that you could,
They won't run away on you.
No, they're just going to sit there.
Okay. And that one is spinning forever. Wow, that one was interesting. I have 3 1s and a 6.
Ooh, so that's 8.
Yes.
3 1s and a 6 is a 7.
Well, but I take out the 1.
Oh wait, never mind. ICANN does maths.
Well, we probably should have said it though.
Yeah.
So it was good. All right.
It's a better roll.
That is a better roll. So a 6, a 3, a 2, and a 1. So dropping
13.
the 1, and we have. Yes. Okay. I'm much slower at math in my head.
Actually, no, 6, 2, 3 is 11.
Right. 9.
Yes.
Yes, you're
6
right.
and 5.
You're just wanting to give me more. That's all right.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Sure, take it.
I won't argue.
I also give it and take. So.
Yeah. So there we go. So. Oh, that's a nice
That's a good
roll.
one. That's a really good one.
So 3 5s and minus
3 5s and a 2.
3 5s and a 2. Take away the 2, so 15.
So far, you've got the standard array.
Nope. And this is why it's standard.
There we go. All right, so 2 6s and a 3 and a 1 minus the 1, so
15.
Yet another 15.
So now you have deviated from the standard array for the better.
yay! I was actually surprised because I figured I would deviate for the worst. All right. Oh, nice. 3 6s.
Wow.
Oh,
Wow.
15!
Oh, she's going to
Wow.
be a character.
And
Beginner's luck, guys.
I don't know what you're talking about. The 6 18s are coming from somebody.
Yeah, I had to.
all right, and a 2 minus the 2. So we
Is that
are
your last set, or you got one more?
good there. 1 2 3 4 5 6.
So, set number 2.
So that's set number 1.
So set number 2. All right, so 2 5s and a 2 and a 1. So take away the 1, and we've got 12. Well, I've got 12. All right, so a 6, 2 3s, and a 2 minus the 2, so 12 again.
Mm-hmm.
I think I must like the number 12. All right.
That one looks good.
That does. 5 and 3 4s.
Wow.
So minus a 4, so
13.
13, thank you. Alright. So 4, 3, and 2 2s, so minus a 2.
9.
And we've got 9. And 5 and 4, 3, drop the 2, 12.
Mm-hmm. You got a lot of 12s there.
Yeah, I do.
12 is not a bad number.
Must
12
be
is
my
plus
lucky
1.
number. And wow, that was a really bad roll. A 2 and 3 1s. So minus a 1, that's a 4.
Yeah. So which one do you want to take?
I like that one.
The first one?
I do.
So read off both the stat blocks real quick.
Okay. 12, 8, 11, 15, 15, 18.
And that's the first set.
That's the first set. Second set's 12, 12, 13, 9, 12, 4. I would have liked the second set until I got the 4, actually.
Yeah.
But I think I'll go with the first set.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I would have made the same choice.
I definitely would have taken the stat block with the 18, no matter what the other numbers were, probably.
Yeah.
Well, I was kind of hoping that I'd get another big one on the second one. But
Yeah.
So the way that modifiers work for ability scores, the ability scores are the numbers you have in front of you.
Okay.
The way that modifiers work is that for every 2 numbers above 10, you get a +1 to your modifier. So if you're rolling a strength check and you have 18 strength, you add +4 to your roll.
Okay.
And basically what that does is that each number that you add to your die is an additional 5% added to get to 20 on a 20-sided die. Because each number, you have a 5% chance of rolling any specific number on a d20.
Okay.
So if you're saying, like, say the AC is 20 on a target, you have a 5% chance of getting a natural 20. But for each +1 that you have, so for that 18 to +4, you have an additional 20% to reach that number.
Nice.
So, anyways, I believe.
Well, hold on
Oh.
a second, Mr.
Valid, I'm
have
sorry.
to run away.
I'm sorry.
What class are you playing, and what role does it normally take?
Oh.
Ask the one person that wasn't set on a class before.
Exactly.
Of course.
Did you
well,
want to come back around to it?
Well, I have questions.
Okay.
Oh,
Ask
you
your
found the
questions.
app.
What?
You found it.
Yes.
Okay.
So I was really thinking of going rogue or warlock.
Okay.
I had the additional thought, possibility of cleric, being that there are healers in the Wheel of Time. However, in games that I have played before, healers aren't necessarily easy to play for new people.
Yes and no in
So-
5th edition. So, if you want, are you asking about information on the cleric, the rogue, or the warlock first?
I guess I want to know. All right. Well, you know what? Just what's the strengths?
So the strengths of a rogue is incredibly high damage output.
Okay, I like that.
If you build them the right way, right? So you can build them not the right way and still have an incredibly high damage output, but it's going to take a lot more on your end to do it. The strength of a warlock is with every spellcaster in the game except for the warlock, you have spell slots that can only be recovered after a long rest. So, a spell slot is like, say you have 3 first level spell slots. Mm-hmm. That means until you take a nap, that's 8 hours or longer, you can't cast those spells if you have exhausted those 3 spell slots. With a warlock, you can take a short rest, which is anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour, and you get your spell slots back. But that's because you sell your soul to some otherworldly being, or an ancient, or a king of the Fae, and he's the one that basically you're channeling his spell slots from his world, and basically doing it. He's giving you the ability to do those things.
And duly noted, for a warlock, they do get less spells per day, quote unquote, but that is because they recover them at a much more rapid pace.
So it balances out. Like you can't cast more spells in each combat. Mm-hmm. But over the day, you can cast almost an infinite amount. Well, upwards of 8 or more. Because I think if you just take 8 hour-long breaks, you're pretty much sleeping. Just you're breaking it up. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure that warlocks also have the added benefit of, if they have an arcane focus, as a warlock, they don't need material components.
Excluding that with a gold value.
Yeah, and the gold value is mentioned specifically for the spell you want to cast. So, like case in point, there's one that says you need a ruby worth 50 gold or more.
Okay.
So unless you went to a store and bought a ruby worth 50 gold, you did not have it, and so could not cast that spell.
And that's whether or not arcane or no?
Yeah, it's regardless.
Okay.
To cast that spell, you have to have a ruby worth 50 gold.
Okay. That's good to know.
And the cleric is depending, because there's different domains and there's different deities, right? Mm. They have pantheons of gods that range from Greco-Roman to Celtic to Norse to Forgotten Realm to Egyptian. So there's many different deities that you can, claim as your deity that you're a cleric of, and there's different domains that go alongside said deity. There's, I think, 6 or 7 different domains. There's life, light, war, tempest, nature, trickery, and death. But death is kind of usually a no-no. Unless you're serving the Raven Queen, and specifically in the Forgotten Realm setting, because she's just like, yes, I'm a god deity of death, but I'm more, keen on keeping the dead where they belong, and so therefore the undead are evil, nasty bad guys that we got to kill. So she's more of like a good god of the dead as opposed to some of the other ones.
Right.
More similar to Hades from Greek mythology, as opposed to, you know, some of the other ones from like the Norse or Chinese or other ones where they were just like tormentors.
Okay.
But in terms of like the difficulty for a new player for a cleric, clerics, if you just want to focus on healing, clerics are easy, right?
Okay.
Because if honestly all you want to do is just sit there and be like, well, you got hurt, time to heal you, and you just slap a band-aid on them and say a prayer and they're better. That's not all that difficult because you'd have spell slots, and then you just use your spell slots for cure wounds or healing word, depending on the situation. If you want to do some damaging spells, if you want to take advantage of your domain more often, then it starts getting more complicated, but it doesn't become obsequious. Like it just requires a little bit more time to like grasp the idea of like, what is this concept supposed, like what is it trying to accomplish?
Yeah.
Right. So I guess one of the other strengths of a rogue is probably that traditionally in D&D, the rogue's role in a party is to be the guy that steals all the treasure, stabs their party members in the back, and steals all the kills.
Ah.
So it's it can be a selfish class, but it doesn't have to be played that way. Have you made a decision, or would you like us to come back to you?
I'd like input if anybody has a preference. Could I say that?
Okay. So just based off of what I know of where you guys are going to be going, you guys want a rogue.
I would recommend a rogue.
All right.
And that's just because the reason behind that is that the damage is there if you need the damage. Mm-hmm. There is never a reason to not have someone in the party who can be practically invisible and overhear conversations, or practically invisible and lining up a shot to take out the big bad guy, or being practically invisible and retrieving an object of importance so that you don't have to fight. You know, that the skill set that the rogue brings to the table is invaluable. But so is the skill set of a cleric, and the skill set of warlock. Me personally, I'm biased against warlocks. I think they're kind of useless. I generally don't enjoy playing them. I don't like their character concept.
Well, my thought was because of her background in the Wheel of Time. You know, there's definitely a dark and a light kind of component there. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's just like, well, she could be warlock and be kind of the dark, or she could be cleric and be more of the light, or, you know, rogue could be gray. Yeah, which sounds kind of fun anyway. So
okay.
You don't always have to be an evil rogue. You could be a good rogue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I wouldn't classify most rogues as
Thieves.
evil.
Thieves for great justice. Thieves for great justice. No one else wants to be thieves for great. Okay. I'll just
go curl over in your.
You
corner.
take your merry men and leave.
Come on, Little John.
I do have.
No, I don't want to go.
A question. Under human, there is
The variant feat.
variant.
So, the variant option for humans is that instead of getting a +1 increase to all of your stats, you get to choose 2 stats that you want to increase by 1, mm-hmm. and you get to choose a feat from the feat section of the player's handbook. And I'm glad that you mentioned up feats, because we're going to be going through that after we get everybody's stats and character rolls.
Okay, cool.
So if you want to cover them briefly now and you want to go as a human, I can say feats are basically like extra power-ups that you get because humans are good at everything.
Yay!
Yeah.
Except seeing in the dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't see worth diddly in the dark.
So you've decided...
Could be a downside for a rogue.
Yes.
Yes.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's very, very true.
So that being said, I know that you guys don't necessarily have access to the Unearthed Arcana for 5th edition.
I actually have all of them on my phone.
I know you do.
No, I know, but
but for those who have are just using the player's handbook, in my campaign, because I'm opening the campaign to all the multiverses, the Unearthed Arcana rule sets are perfectly fine. The optional rules and classes in the DMG are available. There's only 3.
Are those in the Dungeon Master's Handbook?
There's some in the DMG. There's 2 There's 2 races.
Dungeon Masters and the Monster Manual.
Yeah, and you can definitely go those. In fact, honestly, if you wanted and you could provide me enough backstory, I'm fine with you playing one of the variant classes or variant races in the Monster Manual, like vampires or lycanthropes. I'm totally okay with that.
I'm not going that complicated yet.
Fair enough.
For those of the listeners that are not familiar with the Unearthed Arcana, it is a monthly article that Wizards of the Coast has been putting out to essentially beta test product that they are thinking about releasing, or just side rules that they use in their own campaigns for the use of other players.
Mm-hmm. So that being said, if I know they've got a couple different races in Unearthed Arcana, they got a couple different classes available as well. So it's for the newbies. You can do whatever you want. I don't recommend it because it's a lot more to read. And if you just want to get into the game and experience the game, there's no reason why you just shouldn't just use the PHB.
Okay.
But for those like Bill or Lou who are either A, more experienced, or B, want more shenanigans, then it's totally open. So that being said, I think we're going to leave Erin to reading up on feats if she wants to go human variant. And in the meantime, we're going to go to Bill.
Okay. So that's not looking promising. That's starting off with a 9, 2 4s, and a pair of 1s. And next we are looking at... that's getting a little bit better with an 11, a 6, 4, and pair of 1s. I might just want to get those dice that keep rolling 1s out of here, but we're looking at a 12 with a pair of 5s, a 2, and a 1. Then that one shall be another 12 with a 6, a 5, and a pair of 1s. All the 1s.
All of them all the time.
It's true. Gotta love the pairs. And that's looking at an 18, 3 6s, and a 1.
Nice.
Then we're looking at a 16 with a pair of 6s, a 4, and a 1.
Okay.
And that is the first set.
Yep. Looks like it to me.
So for the first set, we're looking at a 9, 11, 2 12s, an 18, and a 16.
Not bad.
For set number 2. Starting off relatively strong with a 15, a 6, 5, 4, 2. Then we have a pair of 6s, a 3, and a 2 for another 15. A 6, a pair of 2s, and a 1 for a 10. Then we have a 6, a 4, a 5, and a 3 for another 15.
Okay.
We have a pair of 4s, a 3, and a 1 for an 11.
It's not bad.
And then a pair of 4s, another 3, and another 1 for another 11.
So you've got 2 stat blocks. One of them is more...
So the second stat block came out to be 3 15s, 2 11s, and a 10.
Okay.
So a decision on the 2 stat blocks is relatively challenging.
Yeah, because you've got some choices to make there. You
Yeah.
can go with average stats and for 3 of them, and then a below average stat for one in the first set to have 2 really good stats.
Yeah, to have 2 really good ones, or 3 decent ones and 3 average.
Mm-hmm.
At this moment, I'd actually like to mention that my character concept right now is going to be a monk. The race is yet to be determined. That being said, I actually think I'm going to go with set number 1, which was a 9, an 11, 2 12s, an 18, and a 16.
So that being said, are you going? What race are you going?
That being said, I am looking at being a Warforged monk.
Okay. That's all right.
And Warforged is actually one of the extra classes in the Unearthed Arcana for Eberron.
So what does that do for you?
So, I'm glad you asked. Let me pull it up 1 second. As a Warforged, it increases my strength and constitution by 1. Size is medium, just like everything else in the... Well, almost everything else when it comes to playable races. My base walking speed is 30. I have an ability called Composite Plating, which gives me a +1 to armor class.
Okay.
And I am a living construct, which means I'm a robot. So I don't have to eat, drink, or breathe, but I can if I choose.
Got it. All right. Well, that doesn't really do anything to change my plans, but go ahead. All right, so
like it.
We've got Kevin.
Hi.
Hi, friend. A little nervous about these rolls, huh?
Not really.
Not really. It is what it is.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see what you got.
6, 4, 3, 1, so 13.
Okay.
Six, 5, 3, 2, so 14, right? Yeah, 14. 5, 4, 4, 3, so 13 again.
Mm-hmm. Looking pretty above average.
Yeah, you had to say that, didn't you?
Oh,
4,
the curse
3,
of
1,
the DM.
1, so an 8.
Ouch.
We choose that when we're going to water him at daily.
And a 6, 1, 1, another 8.
I'm sorry. I'll shut up.
You jinxed me.
DM curses, man.
6, 2, 1, 1, so a 9.
Would you like a different set of dice?
Well, 3 of these are mine and 1 the DM gave me.
There's your problem. You have one that the DM didn't have one that the DM didn't touch, because as most people that have played D&D know, DMs curse things.
5, 4, 3, 1, so 12.
Oh, okay. Blame the DM guy.
Yeah, we will.
3 4s and a 3, so
does
another
that,
12.
Does that get you at 6?
What?
Does that get
He
you first
actually
set?
started set number 2.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Did you want to hear set number 1?
Yeah, what was the first set?
13, 14, 13, 8, 8, 9.
Okay.
A 5, a 3, and 2 2s, so a 10.
It's not bad.
You had to say something again. 4 and 3 1s. A 6, a 3, and 2 2s. Another 11. So the second one's 2 12s, 2 11s, a 10, and a 6.
Doesn't really leave you much, does it?
Not really.
Do you have 2 below 10 in the second one?
I got 3 below. I got 1 below 10 in the second one and 3 below 10 in the first.
I would probably not take the first one.
I was thinking that too.
But the second one is a 6, right?
Yeah.
Which is a -2.
Yeah. So you're going to want to pick something that you really don't care for.
I mean, but 90% of classes do have that dump stat.
They do. Yeah, I'll go with the second one.
Okay. Speaking of classes, what is your class?
I'm going to be a druid.
Okay.
I chose druid because in most things I've played, they're more of a support character. They fill in the blanks.
Right.
If the group needs a help with something, it can do it. They usually are able to heal, they're able to fight, they're able to do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They're able to cast, so thought it'd be nice to have something that could be all around handy.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So
Well, I definitely agree with that choice. So, what do we have all around for the party in terms of characters, races, and classes, races, and stats? And I think to be fair to Aaron, we're going to start at Lou, and then go to Kevin, Bill, and then go back to you.
Well, while everybody has been rolling, I was placing on my stats and then going through my racial bonuses that each race gets.
Okay.
As a tiefling, I get a +1 to my intelligence and a +2 to my charisma. So I added them in. For my stats, I chose a strength of 10, which gives me a bonus of 0.
Okay.
My dex of 14. My constitution is a 12. My intelligence was that 13. But because I'm choosing the entertainer, that also added a +1 to my intelligence.
From the entertainer background?
Or no, excuse me, from the feat linguist.
Okay.
That gave me another +1 to my intelligence, bringing that up to a 15. My wisdom of 12, and my charisma of 13, giving me a total of 15 on my charisma.
Awesome.
So since I'm going to be a bard, tiefling entertainer, looking over here at the entertainer stats, I figure I'm going to be probably instrumentalist singer.
Okay.
I'm choosing both of them. It don't add me anything, but
It's a nice flavor text. It's what you do to how you entertain.
yeah, I sit there and I play the guitar fiddle.
Right?
And that's about it right now. I'm working my character over while everybody's talking. You know, I'm just shutting up, letting everybody else have the spotlight. And back to you.
Okay, so you mentioned something there about feats, right? Now, off air, I had mentioned about how everyone's going to start with a feat.
Yeah.
There's a particular reason for that, which is you guys have to figure that out. But there's a reason why everyone's starting here. It's not normal. And because I don't know if Erin is choosing the variant human, what that means, if she does take the variant human, she'll start with 2 feats.
Yeah.
At the start of the campaign. Yeah. You've got a tiefling bard, and what's your highest stat?
My highest stat will be my 15 in charisma.
Okay. So that gives you a +2, right?
Yep.
Okay. So then let's go to Kevin if he's ready.
I'm still adding in stuff, but I can go.
Okay.
Okay. I'm a druid. It looks like after I've entered my stats with modifiers, my strength will be 11, my intelligence will be 11, my dexterity will be 8, my wisdom 13, my constitution 14, and my charisma 6.
Okay.
Okay.
I would recommend you change that dex. You want to be a little bit higher.
Druids tend to use a lot more finesse weapons, so it should use dexterity. Plus, it gives you the
I gave my dexterity...
a 6.
I gave it the 10. It didn't take. That's why it's so low. It stayed at 8. There we go. So dexterity is a 10.
Okay.
That's where I put that one. Okay. What else do you want to know?
You wanted to know your race.
My race is wood elf.
Okay.
Which I'm still working and adding in the stats for that.
Right, but you basically get proficiency with a whole bunch of stuff. You can't be charmed. You can't.
Okay.
You can be charmed, but you have advantage against the saving throw for it.
Okay.
You physically cannot be put to sleep magically.
Cool. I'll go with that.
Yeah, like you can't. It doesn't happen.
Okay.
And you get a bonus to your movement speed because you're wood elf. So that's pretty cool.
Very cool. Yeah, my speed's 35.
Yeah. So, what feat did you take? Or are you still working on that?
Feat. Which one is that?
The feat.
Oh.
Am I what now?
Feats are the additional superpower things.
These.
Yeah. You get to pick one of those, and there's like 3 pages of them. So if you don't have it, it's fine. We can go back to you.
No, I have not done that part yet.
It's all right. We can go back to you.
Okay.
Okay, so as previously stated, I'm playing a Warforged Monk, which is taking a step away from what I normally like to do, which is min-max the heck out of a character. But Warforged Monk, the end result when it comes to stats is a strength of 12, a dexterity of 18, a constitution of 13, a charisma of 12, a wisdom of 16, and an intelligence of 9.
Okay.
When it comes to feat, I chose the alert feat, which makes it so that things that are hidden from me do not gain advantage. Like, let's say we were going against a rogue, they wouldn't have advantage to attack me if they were in the shadows.
Okay.
I'm also never surprised, and I get a +5 to my initiative rolls.
So you're like HAL 3000. You're just like constantly on the ball.
Absolutely.
Right on. Okay. Are you ready, Aaron?
No.
No. Is that okay? Can you go when you're not ready, or do you need more time?
Well, where did I put? Let's see. I haven't put in my stats yet, so I was just because I'm using the app, and it has you do background, so I just picked a background.
Okay.
So, yeah.
The backgrounds help for giving you like proficiencies and equipment or tool proficiencies, as well as like starting equipment. So.
Okay.
So we just took a break so we could get some stuff squirreled away. So Kevin, you've got a feat now for your class, and some of your stats might have changed. So what changed? What did you choose, and why?
I chose Observant.
Okay.
Because I felt by what you were describing, it might be handy to be able to see things that we may not naturally or normally see.
Got it. Yeah.
And maybe help us out with some gear. And it increased my wisdom by 1.
Okay.
And it increased my perception by 5.
Okay. Now in the player's handbook, the passive perception is what gets increased.
Yes.
However, I'm more than willing to mod those rules, because it makes sense that if you're gonna just like, if you're not looking at something, you're gonna be able to spot something better than if you're looking at something. You should be able to spot something better.
Oh yeah.
So if you're actively trying to do it, so I'm more than okay with you adding just a blanket +5 to your perception skill, as opposed to just it being part of your passive.
Yes.
So passive perception is for detecting threats that you're not actively looking for, whereas choosing an action of your turn per se to look for something by using a perception check is an active part. So you can do either or now with that with +5.
Okay.
And then you're remind me again. You're a wood elf.
I'm a wood elf druid. Name's Roland Tree Stump.
Okay.
It's got a history in other games I've played.
Okay. So then you've got that, and then you got what's your highest stat?
My highest stat right now is 14 wisdom. My lowest is 6 on charisma.
Ouch.
Yeah, it looks like the south end of a northbound mule.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Well, so,
Even scarier bear.
Because charisma is generally attributed to the stat that like determines how pretty you are to look at and how good you interact with other people.
Yeah.
So are you more ugly, or are you just like so socially awkward? Or both?
We'll go with both.
Okay. So now here's another thing. Like, you can have your charisma reduced by like having a really bad scar or like taking damage from that way. Is like, are you ugly because you were born that way and the doctor slapped your mom in the face? Or
I would say battle ridden.
Battle scarred. All right. So what? We'll get to that later.
Okay.
Then Aaron.
Yes.
You when we last left off, you hadn't decided on a race. And you hadn't decided on any of the feats, because part of the story includes feats, as we've talked about before.
Right.
Because of reasons unknown to you.
All right. Yeah, well, I've chosen human, and I chose the variant.
Okay, which gives you another feat, right?
Right.
Okay.
So I went ahead and chose lucky.
Okay.
And that is mainly because, who doesn't want to be lucky? But also, I think it fits the character. She's, a rogue, street smart, thinking on her feet kind of thing. It just kind of fits.
Right. And so what does Lucky do for you mechanically?
Well, I will get 3 luck points.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever I make attack, I can spend a luck point to roll an additional d20. So yay, that will help because I rolled really well today but I don't normally.
Right.
So,
so just being able to have those backups just in case it's just like it's an important roll. You're just like, man, I really want to get this skill check, or man, I really don't want to fail this roll. You have lucky points to spend to reroll them.
exactly.
And you get 3 a day before a long rest?
Yes.
Okay. So now you're a variant human, so you start with a feat because you're a variant human, but because of the campaign setting, you also start with a feat. So what was your second feat?
I can't actually pronounce it.
Skulker?
Skulker. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And that one says that I am an expert at slinking through the shadows.
Mm.
And definitely fits a rogue.
Mm-hmm.
She can hide, is lightly obscured from creatures from which I'm hiding. If I'm hidden from a creature and miss it with a ranged attack, making the attack doesn't reveal my position. Yay! And dim light doesn't impose a disadvantage, which is important because, as a human, yeah.
You don't see well in the dark.
No.
Yeah, we have to hand her a cane in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure that the Warforged doesn't get dark vision, do they?
They do not.
Do they get infravision?
Negative.
So darkness is bad for half the party.
That is correct.
Okay. So, and what is your highest stat?
Dexterity, and it was 18, but
Mm-hmm.
it's gone up to 19.
Because of the variant human, right?
And yes, and then the wisdom went up to 16, which I'm actually not sure why that was.
Did you want to choose something else like charisma or something?
No.
Because as a human, you get to choose, so you might have like mistyped or something.
Yeah. No, I think I had a reason for that. Actually, now going
Maybe
back
for
to
perception.
Yeah,
look around.
because I did pick perception.
Okay.
So no, it was.
Persuasion?
Now I'm getting confused. Yes, persuasion.
So
that would have been
charisma
charisma
is the stat block for persuasion. Is
Yeah.
fine. I'm saying you might have just accidentally.
I think so. So I will have to fix that.
Okay.
But otherwise, yeah.
And Bill, what is your highest stat? And your feat again?
So my highest stat is dexterity at an 18, and the feat was the alert feat.
Okay. And that just gives you a bonus to initiative. You can't be surprised, yada, yada, yada.
Yep.
I can't pull my DM hacks on you.
Absolutely. I'm trying to be DM hack proof.
Mm-hmm.
That will prove to be not successful.
No. Yeah, it's not going to happen, buddy. Sorry. And Lou, to finish it off for the feats and the stats, everything, what's your highest stat?
My highest stat is my charisma.
Okay.
At a 15 gives me a +2.
Okay.
And the feat I chose was linguist.
What does that do for you?
Linguist allows me to have 3 more languages that I can speak
Okay.
and understand in both reading and writing.
Mm-hmm.
Or not reading and writing, but also speaking. Being an entertainer, I've got to be able to understand other languages. I chose Elven, Primordial, and Draconic.
Okay.
So that'll give me a total of 5 languages. So I'll be the linguist of the group.
So you're the translator in case we need stuff translated. Okay.
Now,
so we're moving on now from feats and character stats mechanically and now we're gonna kind of move more towards the role playing aspects of the characters, and that involves your background. So go ahead and what's your background, real quick?
Well,
what does that give you, and then what stats did you determine for your personality traits?
Well, I chose entertainer as my background, but in all that really does is it gives me equipment that I'm skilled with. It also gave me the skill of performance and acrobatics.
Okay.
So that gave me proficiencies in those. So I chose as my character, he's a singer, instrumentalist. So he's an entertainer that comes out, and he's the one that, think about the old traveling minstrel, is basically what he is. Now, my character background, his name is Albaran, the Bard.
Okay. He's
a tiefling, and as everybody knows, who's any bit aware, the tiefling are the demon-born. Now, both his parents were tieflings, so he does not have the infernal trait, so to speak. Both his parents...
Are you saying you want me to take away the Hellish Rebuke feat from
No.
your... Oh.
Hell no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you said you don't have the really, you're not really all that infernal. So if you're not all that infernal, how can you just cast hellfire at people who piss you off?
Because that's mine. Mine.
All right, I'll be nice. What you got?
The three people from the past that have influenced him and mean something to him are his parents. And when he went out on his own, he was noble born. Basically upper class in the tiefling society. But
so he did come from a country or a city at least of tieflings?
Yeah. But there was a war and they were driven out. I haven't chosen who the race was that they had a war with, but they lost. The tieflings lost. And so now they're, they've been humbled. But the first person beyond his race who befriended him was a female halfling by the name of Sasha.
Okay.
And he's developed kind of an infatuation, so to speak, with her. The type of entertainer he is, he's really not only just a singer, instrumentalist, but he's also a tale teller. He's got just about a story for everything. Almost any situation, he's got a story. Well, he can tell you just about anything. And one of his flaws, though, is that he's never been around other racial females. He's always been around tieflings. So anytime a female from another race, like an elf or a halfling or a human, shows that they like them, that they like him, he becomes infatuated with her. So he's kind of feckless in that way.
Right.
But his bond, his ideal, is he doesn't like the way everybody looks at his people.
The tieflings.
The tieflings. Everybody looks at him, oh, they're demons, stay away, stay away. So why he became a bard, an entertainer, is what better way to change people's minds than it's by entertaining them. They see that, hey, maybe, he's just like me, just got different skin. And that's one of the, that's one of my things. I don't look at your skin color. I look at what's inside of you.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be one of my traits as my character. I'm going to try and play upon, hey, I may look different than you, but I'm no different than you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So that's my character.
Okay. And then we can go to anybody who's ready with a little bit of their backstory or information like that.
Okay, so playing a Warforged monk, The Warforged were created by the House Caneth in one of the wars on the plane of Eberron. So clearly, that's where I would be from. I decided to go with the sailor background for the variant pirate aspect. The sailor background gives skill proficiencies in athletics and perception, then tool proficiencies in navigator's tools and water vehicles.
Okay.
Yeah. Who knows? Might be important.
If you ever get a boat, you guys know who to call.
Exactly. So, for those of you that don't know, at the end of the war that the Warforged were created for, they were shunned because they were creations of war and hostility. So there was a pirate captain that took me under her wing along with some of my compatriots. The name of the monk Warforged in which I am is Brick. There was also Cog and Jam, who were the anchors of the ship.
So this woman used these horribly destructive beings of magical creation as anchors.
Yes, because we attended to her ship, and she took us as crew and decided, that's a good job for these robots that don't have to breathe.
So hot. I mean, apparently a hunk of iron was too cheap for her, so she got Warforged instead.
She got a crew along with anchors.
Well, I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. Do you have a name for her?
I do not quite have a name for her.
Do you want, I mean,
I'd love to use Captain Tess, but
I can use Captain Tess if you want me to use Captain Tess.
it's completely up to you.
Mm.
But you were saying that you would like bonds between different people. My captain would be one, my creator would be the other because he got captured in the war.
Okay.
And I think he's still alive. Never know. And the third one would be, I have no idea.
You have no idea.
I have no idea on the third guy.
We can work on that one, and you can let me know. And if it's not on air, then hopefully we can. Use it as a
It'll weasel in
surprise.
somehow.
Yeah.
But when it comes to actual personality, I just used the standard ones in the sailor background.
Mm-hmm.
Number 5 for the personality trait, which is to me, a tavern brawl is always a nice way to get to know a new city. I mean, being a monk and a pirate seems kind of self-explanatory.
Yeah. Yeah.
His ideal, actually, he doesn't have an ideal. It is that he's committed to his crewmates, so an ideal isn't relevant as long as he's committed to the people around him.
Mm-hmm.
His bond is remembering the first ship that he was ever on, which wound up sinking. What can I say? The Warforged were a little too heavy for it. One of his many flaws is that once someone questions his courage, he never's back down, no matter how dangerous the situation is.
Oh dear.
Oh Lord.
Well, that looks like it's going to be a lot of fun to read roleplay, and I look forward to seeing it. So, Kevin, are you ready, or do we want to put?
I have some stuff.
Okay. Well, what do you got?
Well, my character is named Roland Treestump. He is from a realm of many worlds called Caesarea.
Mm-hmm.
The realm is very torn apart between chaos and order.
Right.
He seems to align more on the chaotic side.
Awesome.
I've got him down under his personality traits. Or not personality traits. Yeah, life under ideals. Life is like the seasons in constant change, and we must change it for the chaotic side of it.
Right.
So I am there so far. I have not come up with bonds of people or which bonds I want to use and flaws.
Mm-hmm.
But that is how far I've gotten with that. Any questions that I may miss that I might be able to answer?
Just like what kind of what if you had to write an autobiography for Roland, right? What would be some key things? It could be, if you only got one, you can have one. But like, what is one of the key events in his life that shaped who he is? Well,
the world he comes from is very broken in war.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, which is why he decided to be a druid, and he went to live in the wilderness to try to get away from the battle.
Okay. So is he a little bit more cowardly? Does he like fighting, or
he doesn't mind fighting? He just thinks the fighting that's going on there is unnecessary.
Okay.
So he saw no way to stop it.
Mm-hmm. So instead, he's just trying to stay away from it.
Okay. All right, and then so that's a key event in his life, is that he chose seclusion as opposed to being a part of a society that was war torn.
Well, he tried being a part of the society, and it just didn't seem to have a point.
Okay. All right, so
he becomes more of a hermit.
Uh-huh.
So you taking the hermit?
I had taken Outlander.
Oh, the Outlander. Okay.
Yeah.
That fits too.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, because if you're taking the hermit, then you could have gotten some nifty stuff. Because hermits find relics.
Yep. Well, he's already got the high perception, so he's going to find things.
I'll get you, my pretty.
And you live too.
As long as he survives long enough to do so.
Yeah. So I guess we will move on to Aaron and let Kevin figure out what he wants to figure out, and if he's got more, then we can go back to him, or we can just call it for the night and pick it up next week.
Okay. So my character's name, actually, I've been kind of torn whether I should go with a name I've used before for other things, or if I should create a new one. But I think I'll use I'll just use the I like it anyway. So long explanation, short answer. Character's name's Kistara. No last name, just Kistara.
Okay.
Yeah. And she is a charlatan. Makes total sense. She was heavily influenced by her older brother. Well, one of her older brothers, actually. She's kind of in the middle. She's got a ton of siblings, and but one of her other older brothers really was just a rebel.
Right.
And, being an older brother, how cool is that? So, she followed him around and got involved wherever possible.
In the shady stuff of the town, and when he was going off and doing stuff and getting in trouble, you were always there.
Yes, and of course, my character, I guess I'll use first person for her. Okay, so
you can.
Yeah. So I would, he would get involved in all this stuff, and I, of course, as I got older, would have to also one-up him. So,
anything you can do, I can do better.
Exactly. At first it was total worship. Oh, my older brother's so cool. And then, eventually it was like, oh, I can outdo that. So. Okay.
And so, your older brother's really, really important to you then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's one of the big bonds that you have with that. Now, you chose the charlatan background?
Yes.
And that gives you some skills, some tool proficiencies, and some special equipment, I think, too, but which we're not going to worry about the equipment, because you don't have to have nice things, because I say so.
Well, with all my siblings, it would get broken anyway.
Probably, yeah.
So I get deception and sleight of hand.
Yay. Those are skills.
And tool proficiencies, I get disguise kit and forgery kit.
Okay.
And then we won't worry about.
Yeah, we don't need to worry about the equipment. But what you do have to worry about is did you want to choose from this list of the personality, ideal, bond, and flaw, or did you want to just roll for them, or what did you want to do with that?
That's an excellent question.
Rolling can be really fun sometimes.
And I have rolled for similar things in other games, actually. Yeah, why not?
You want to roll for it?
Sure.
So the first one's a D8. There you go.
Yeah, it says it right there, doesn't it? Alright,
2.
so a 2. I have a joke for every occasion, especially occasions where humor is inappropriate. Oh, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, it does.
Oh. Alright.
So the next one is D6.
D6.
There's like 12 of them next to you.
Yeah, you're right. Blinds.
It's a 4.
Alright. So creativity. Oh, I like that too. Never run the same con twice. Chaotic.
Okay. I think the bond is a D6 and the flaw is as well, so you can just use that same die.
Also
Another 4.
I think that dice weighted.
A noble family. Woo! Was not expecting that, actually.
So what does it say?
That's all right. I come from a noble family, and one day I'll reclaim my lands and title from those who stole them from me.
Oh, very interesting.
Yes, I'm thinking maybe I feel like I'm being pushed out of my fair share because I'm a kind of black sheep in the family.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
boy, that's good.
It's really good.
Yeah. All right. And 3 for a flaw. I'm convinced that no one could ever fool me the way I fool others.
Ooh.
Ah, yes.
Cocky little rogue we are.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the same background that Varys has, and he's like stupidly cocky too. Like he gets himself in so much more trouble. he always kills his way out of it, but he shouldn't have to. He just decides to be like, you know what, I'm better than you, and then he runs his mouth off, and people start fighting him, and he's just like, no, seriously, I'm better than you.
Yeah, here, I'll show you. I'll kill you.
And your family, and
your little dog.
yeah, especially the little dog. That's the little bastard that made me want to kill you in the first place.
Oh.
So, all right, I guess we can. If Kevin, are you getting along with the personality traits, or would you like to pick it up next week?
I feel like I've gotten them filled in.
Okay.
The personality traits are I feel more comfortable around animals than people, which would make sense after how my people treat my land.
Mm-hmm.
Bonds, an injury to the unspoiled wilderness of my home is an injury to me. Autocorrect and change that to music, but that's okay.
I love auto incorrect.
Auto incorrect, yes.
Flaws, I am slow to trust members of other races, tribes, and societies after what I've seen, what mine have done.
Oh, so you're what now? What race are you?
Wood elf.
So there's no other wood elves in this party, so you're gonna have some trouble getting along, I think.
Probably.
Some growing pains.
Yeah. This is gonna be fun.
This will be interesting.
So those are your flaws, and your personality, the rest of your personality traits. Okay, so thank you very much for listening to the the maiden voyage of the Drême Weaver podcast, and we wanted to thank the people that are here at the table for showing up, and also the listeners. We wouldn't be doing this without you. Well, I mean, we would, but it just wouldn't be recorded without you. So. That's it.
Just keep on gaming. That's about all I can say.